What's happening, everyone? JayShockblast here, and check it out. Yesterday we saw the release of update 2.6 in Marvel's Avengers. This is buffing our heroes, making them a little bit beefier, and it adds a brand new villain sector, No Rest for the Wicked, featuring the Scientist Supreme Monica Rappaccini, and also Monica Rappaccini. And let me tell you, nothing is more exciting to me than another Monica boss battle, especially when my reward at the end is a little bit of hive mind gear. Holy cow! Welcome to day 747 of Marvel's Avengers. Listen, I think we're all a little disillusioned at this point. Some of us are long past that point, but they finally got me. All right, I'm at a point where I don't play the game much anymore as it is, but on a day where we're getting our second actual brand new playable mission of 2022, it's a little sad and frustrating to get through it and realize that that's it. You know, that there's really no reason to play this again other than to get a couple of forgettable nameplates. Okay, this is they should be able to do more than this. And honestly, if the mission existed in a vacuum and it released with the core game, I think we would all been fine with it. Like, it's a fine enough mission. It's nothing to write home about. They said it was going to be a lot like Beating the Odds, and to be fair, I think they're actually correct. It is exactly like Beating the Odds, and we don't play Beating the Odds that much anymore either. There's really just not a lot of point to it, you know? So I just feel like there's got to be something more that we can do, or it's time to shut down shop and move on to the next one. Now, recently, Crystal Dynamics was purchased by the Embracer Group, and obviously we're all kind of sitting on pins and needles to see what that means for the future of the game. And honestly, I hope that they're able to work out a deal with Marvel. At this point, the Embracer Group owns so many different properties, so many different companies, so many different studios, that I feel like they would be a great partner for Marvel games. And I actually believe that, you know, at its core, Marvel's Avengers is a great game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. There's no doubt about it. I've played it more than most games. I've got the platinum. I've got all the achievements. I love this game, okay? And I feel like the heroes play extremely well. You know, like, I would love for Crystal to have the opportunity to make a Thor single player game. I think they could hit that out the park. The problem is that with what they have to work with now, I don't see a path forward for this game. They're trying to hire more people, but the reality is that, unbeknownst to most of you, they're actually losing people, okay? And it's just not sustainable. It's not sustainable for this game to only, you know, put out 2 missions in the first almost 10 months of the year. It's not sustainable. Like, especially when, you know, they added that Wasteland Vault and nobody plays it. Yeah, I know they threw Taskmaster at the end of the Maestro villain sectors, but, like, you know, they've already done that twice, you know? There's literally 2 Maestro villain sectors that are literally the exact same mission, to a T. There's nothing different about them. And now there's a third version that just ends with Taskmaster. You know, they can't keep doing this. Honestly, it's shocking to me that they've added 0 replayable villains for these villain sectors. It is just, I don't understand what we're doing and how almost 750 days into this game being in the hands of consumers that we're still pumping out missions that aren't worth our time. And you can argue that Cloning Labs will be, because it's going to be a power rise to 175, and I would argue that who's going to play that, you know, except a very small group of endgame players. And to be fair, those are probably the most loyal subset of fans of Marvel's Avengers, so if anybody deserves it, it's them. But here's a problem. My buddy Casual Avenger and I think even Sadat the Gamer both ran polls recently asking people what they're more excited for when 2.7 launches. Is it playing as Winter Soldier or playing as the Cloning Labs? And the answer was a resounding Winter Soldier, like 90-10, all right? 9-1. Can you imagine like that big of a disparity when we're talking about a third actual mission being released, versus a character who may or may not, be similar to everybody we've already played, Like there's arguments to be made that it's going to be some crossover between Black Widow and Captain America. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. But what I can tell you is, we're going to play Winter Soldier. We're going to have a good time with it. And then what? It's going to be all the same missions. I mean, I guess at that point with Winter Soldier, we'll be able to play No Rest for the Wicked, because we'll need the leveling and stuff. So it'll make sense to run that mission. But here's the thing. Like, what are they going to do now? All right. They've worked with all this stuff that they've been able to have in the pipeline, and they're advertising this is the end of the AIM storyline, and that's great. Because I think we're all tired of fighting all of the robots and Monica and Taskmaster and Abomination, and that's it. Like, I think we're all tired of all that. But like, all right, so we're gonna move to Ultron, more robots. Is that what's really gonna happen? Oh, we're gonna go to the Kree invasion. Okay, cool. When? I mean, like, it took them this long to put out No Rest for the Wicked. It took them 2 years to put out Cloning Labs. When? Patrol, is that really ever going to be a thing? When? What is the path forward for this game? There isn't one. All right, because they can't put out anything in a timely manner. Even a mission like No Rest for the Wicked, which does exactly what it was supposed to do. It sets up Cloning Labs. That's fine. I'm okay with the mission. The mission's not terrible. It's just not useful after playing it, the first couple times. It's just not. And that's not like a dig, it's not an insult, it's just reality. Because most people playing this game are well past the point of needing, hive mind gear, for any of their characters. And I understand, we've got that Game Pass deal, we've got that, PS Plus deal. This game should be free to play at this point if we're being honest. But, at a certain point, like when do we move on? What happens then? Okay, because we did all this stuff for the new players to not be confused. We spoiled the story by bringing, Nick Fury back to the helicarrier. What next? Like, how do we have confidence that the Kree invasion is coming in 2023? Like, it took them this long to put out No Rest for the Wicked. How do we know that I hope that all this Kree invasion stuff was being worked on for a long time, and the bulk of it is done, and they're just continuing the work. Because look, we were talking about all of that stuff 2 years ago when the game came out, right? We knew Captain Marvel was supposed to come. It was teased in the literal first chapter of the story. Within the first 10 minutes of the story, we're already seeing Captain Marvel, So at a certain point, when is the end? And I think that's what we need to start working towards. Whatever they've got in line, whatever they've got working on, I think they should definitely see it through. But my hope is that behind the scenes, they are pivoting, because imagine this game in Unreal Engine 5, okay? Like, that's not like some small undertaking. It's not feasible for them to like actually do that, because they're literally having to rebuild the whole core of the game in a new engine. But imagine starting fresh with Unreal 5, you know what I mean? And I'm just using that as an example because it's the most popular engine, I think, in gaming. But like, the problem I've heard over the years is that the game was built on just a problematic engine, and that is why we've had so many problems over time. It's not easy to work with. It's given them a lot of issues. I just feel like if they take everything they've learned, remove the albatross from their neck, get rid of the stigma of, oh my god, it's Marvel Avengers, from all the weirdos on Twitter, that hate the game so much that they have to, have notifications on so that they can get their sweet dunking on the Marvel's Play Avengers Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, their life doesn't exist outside of that. I hate making this video, to be honest with you, but that's where we're at. All right, I don't think that they can keep sustaining this way. I look at a game like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which isn't necessarily looked at as a live service game, you know, but it is. It's very much a live service game. They put out, you know, new skin packs all the time. They've had massive expansions that cost about what 3 MCU skins cost in Marvel's Avengers, and for that, you get these massive new areas with full-blown story, all cinematics. And I understand more people work on that game, but for all the hiring that we've seen them try to do, I just don't feel like it's enough, and I don't think like it ever will be. I know they can outsource stuff. I mean, I think they might be outsourcing some stuff now, but at the end of the day, I just feel like the end is near, and it's probably a good thing. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be disappointed to hear that, and I don't know anything. I don't have any inside information. This isn't a leak. This is purely my opinion, but I just really feel like we're at a point where if No Rest for the Wicked is our second mission of the year, what are we doing? Okay, like, you got to do more. There's got to be more. It's not good enough. I mean, and I'm not saying this as like some needy fan or anything. Like, I'm fine going back to playing Fortnite and Disney Dreamlight Valley and Apex Legends. There's a lot of video games out there to play, and there's even more coming with Gotham Knights, God of War, Midnight Suns, Call of Duty, you know, Pokemon, you know, Scarlet and Violet. There's a lot of games coming. It's that time of the year. How are they going to compete? I would like to just see them regroup, take this crew that is passionate about the game, that I know is trying to make positive changes to the game, and get a fresh start and do it right, you know? And I think they can do that, and I would rather see them do that. And I just, you know, No Rest for the Wicked was a great 20 minutes of my life, you know? And then it's like, all right, I have to play this again because FOMO, I got to get those nameplates that I'm never going to use. I just don't know what we're going to do here, you know? Like, I would imagine She-Hulk has to be close to done, you know? And I would imagine that, you know, they had work done on the Kree invasion and Captain Marvel, but, like, I don't know, man. It's not looking good, and honestly, they cannot just keep putting out the bare minimum the way they have been. It's not going to work out. And I'm going in circles at this point. And this is like the 18th time I've recorded this, so I'm going to go ahead and call it at that and say, what do you think? What did you think of No Rest for the Wicked? I think it's a fine mission, but not very relevant, not very useful for someone like me that has everybody at power 150. Anyway, I'm JayShockblast, and I approve this message. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see ya.